What's up guys, Mr. Reddito here with another video. Today I have a very special set of stories for you. 4 exclusive stories in fact. The first story we start with is an inheritance drama that involves a stepfather and a seriously bad accident. This one is full of drama, emotions, heck, you name it. After that, we'll be completing 3 additional stories. My name's Mr. Reddito, and if you're new to the channel, I do read daily stories. If that's something you're into, check out the channel and let's hop into story 1. I'm a male who has recently turned 18, but the events that took place happened before my 18th birthday. For a bit of context, my father passed away when I was younger. My mom remarried several years later. She married a man who already had a son about the same age as me. I did not like the man from the beginning, but I did not say anything because I did not want to ruin my mother's relationship. She promised that he was a nice guy. I was skeptical. I've always been a quiet person who avoids confrontation, so most of the time, I hide how I'm feeling and I let things slide when I should not. My grandparents were very wealthy as they had some smart investment decisions in their prime. They invested in stock market and real estate. I later found out that their total assets were $5 million. Not only that, they also had a beautiful house worth about $1 million not far from where we live. Our family has always been close, and when my stepdad came into our lives, he was very friendly and humble towards them, so they accepted him. He claimed to have a degree in accounting and helped them out with basic things in the beginning, so when my grandparents retired, they hired him for the taking of their care for finances and investments as they trusted him. I did not think it was a good idea to leave him to be in charge of the money, but it was not my money and I was just a kid, so I did not say anything. My stepbrother, Brian, and I just do not get along. He was a spoiled kid from the day that he came to live with us. He was a bit of a bully and was mean to my mom, giving me more reasons to dislike him. While his dad was intelligent, he did not inherit the brains. Unfortunately, he was always getting bad grades despite his dad enrolling him in classes and begging me to help him out. I found it unfair that when Brian messed up at school, his dad would take him somewhere to make him feel better. But when I achieved something at school, I got no such treatment. This was the reason I spent more time at my grandparents' house. They were very sharp in their old age, and they would love to give me life advice, how to save money, etc. Brian only came to their house to lounge in the pool and ask for money, so he never bonded with them. My mother and I got along well, but we became less close when she got married to him. I do not agree with my stepdad on most occasions, but my mother had changed after the wedding. She was always trying to make him happy and get Brian to accept her as his mother. She kept on asking me to try and get along with my stepdad because she swore he was a good man. But all I saw was a shady man. Even that. I knew he would screw us over at some point. It was not like I did not try. He would act like he was on my side whenever he wanted to butter up my mom or grandparent sometimes. But when he was not, he would manipulate me. He ignored me, and as the years passed, I became a teenager. Our relationship got so strained that I ended up hating him, and he actually bullied me subtly. He would make small jabs about how I do not have a girlfriend, etc. But when I told my mom, she said he was just concerned about me. As if. When I was 17, my grandparents decided that they wanted to go on a trip overseas for a while. They would be gone for a few weeks, but they promised to be back soon. I wanted to go, but I still had school. My stepdad also did not go because he said he was busy with work and it was a critical time for the stock market. My grandparents were not his only clients. He occasionally helped other companies and individuals. Brian did not go as well, for the same reason as me, so my mother was the only one who decided to go on the trip with him. I was left behind with my 2 least favorite people. Brian left me alone most of the time because he had a free rein without my grandparents, who have always tried to set him straight to discipline him. I kept in contact with my family for the duration of the time that they were there, but I could not always get a hold of them because of the time zone and lack of service. Now, I do not know if it's a sixth sense or something, but I can get anxious about something and feel like something's bad and it's going to happen most of the time. It does. I could not get a hold of any of them for 2 days in a row, which was the longest I've gone without talking to them. I asked my stepdad about it and he told me to stop worrying. They were just traveling and they would be home soon. It was around the days when they were supposed to be coming back, but I kept on trying to reach them even though he thought I was being paranoid. All the calls went to voicemail and the emails were not responded to. I called up the hotel they were staying in, but I was told that they checked out days ago. They could not give me further information though because of some privacy policy or something like that. I knew that there was no way they were still traveling. It did not take longer than a day to fly from where they were. Later that day, while I was in class, I was called to the principal's office and my stepdad and Brian were there. I asked what's going on. They informed me that the hospital had just called my stepdad. Unfortunately, due to an accident, my grandparents and mother passed away. There were so many questions in my mind because none of it made sense. I went into a hysterical fit, refusing to accept that my family was now gone. The principal sent me and Brian home after opening his condolences, but I do not really remember much of what happened that day. I do remember my stepfather sitting me and Brian down and telling us what happened. It seems that they were on their way to the airport, planning to come back. They collided with a truck and had a car accident. My grandparents died on the scene, but my mother was in surgery for a couple hours before she succumbed to the injuries. It was massive shock. I don't want to lie, even now when I think about it, I cannot believe that such a tragedy took place. As anyone would, I wish that I could go back in time and do something, anything, but there was nothing much to do. I demanded to see them and make sure that it was really them, because I still believe that there's been a mistake. My stepfather confirmed that it was really them, he's seen them. It was hell waiting for them to be transported back to us. Some extended family members were there to offer support, but I did not really know them that well, so it did not even help. Going through the motions were difficult. I mean, how often does someone have to bury 3 family members? They did get dignified funerals, and I did try to say my goodbyes, even though it was difficult. I got a few weeks from school to grieve, and at that time I avoided everyone. I did not get why Brian managed to get the time off. He was never even close to my mom, and especially not my grandparents, but that's beside the point. Soon enough, the matter of the estate had to be discussed. My mother did not have a lot of assets. She had a simple office job and did not always concern herself with having money. She had sold her house when she got married, so all that was left were some savings that were divided between the 3 of us. I had not been expecting anything from my grandparents. I just assumed the property would go to some distant family or some charity organization, as they were big humanitarians. I was surprised when their lawyer called me and my stepdad in. The estate had been equally divided between my mother and me. However, in the case that one of us is deceased, the other would get the 100% rights to the estate. And if the both of us were no more, it would go to charity. I was told that everything had been left to me, but there was a clause. I had to be 18 before everything would be transferred into my name. In the meantime, my legal guardian would safeguard everything. My mother was supposed to be my legal guardian, but since she passed away, the responsibility fell on my stepfather. I could tell when the lawyer said everything had been left to me, he was not happy. Already, we did not get along at all. I was also surprised that my grandparents did not leave him anything. They had trusted him with their money after all, but I guess his scheming had been nothing and blood was thicker than water. After the lawyer had explained everything to me clearly, he left us. I took a while to process everything that's happened over the past few days. I was now the owner of the house on top of that. I was now several $1,000,000 richer. As I said earlier, my relationship with my stepdad was stained, especially since we had always been fighting in my teenage years, but he started being nice to me. He checked up on me several times a day, asked if I needed to talk about anything, and offered support to me. He also told me not to trust the extended family members because they would try to take advantage of me. He was going to take care of me. His son tried to be friendly with me as well, acting as if we were suddenly brothers. But I could see right through their acts, and I knew that soon they would reveal what they wanted. During this time, I established relationships with my extended family and kept them updated about my health. I was about to inherit a lot of money and I had no idea what to do with it. So I asked some of my uncles for advice, and my stepdad did not like that. I eventually asked him what was up with him not wanting me to have any relationship with my family. He said he was good taking care of my money and he would continue to do so if I wanted him to. I told him I would no longer require his guidance, as my family would help me instead. He tried to convince me to officially sign everything over to him once I was 18. So there he revealed his entire motive. He said I was too inexperienced with money and I would not spend it wisely. But since he knew more about money, it would be best for him to have everything in his name. How stupid did he think I was? He was the last person I would trust with the money. He even said that I would be best for me so I could focus on college once I graduated high school. As if he's ever cared about my education before. He'd only shown support to his son, who was not bright at all, in the past. I told him straight up that I was not going to sign over anything or give him any money. He then claimed that I owed him since I was living in his house. He was paying for everything that I had, and he'd taken care of everything when my family passed. I'd known in the past that he was an opportunistic man, but I've never believed he would stoop so low. We had a huge argument over the whole matter, and the both of them ganged up on me per usual, trying to guilt-trip me and using my mother to manipulate me, but I was so hard-headed and refused to give in. But the problem was that for the next couple of months, there was nothing I could do about getting my stuff, because I could not go against the cause. He had everything in his name for the time being, and he was making things difficult for me. One thing I would say about him is that he is good at playing mind games. I began to feel guilty about how my family died. The things he said about me not being able to handle the money and wasting my grandparents' hard-earned money began to feel like they were going to become true. It was all too much for me to handle, and I did not tell anyone about it. I knew my mother's family meant well, but I barely knew them, and I feared they would try to use me for money like my stepdad was doing. Home became a toxic environment, but I had nowhere to go. The only time I could catch a breath was when he was at work. I tried my hardest to be brave, even though he tried everything to convince me, even going as far as to threaten me. It was after he threatened to, quote, do something to me that I decided I could not stay with him anymore. I left home and stayed with a friend for the last few days till my birthday. I ignored his messages and calls during those days, but I found out that they were now living in my grandparents' house. He threatened to do everything he could to make sure that I did not get my money as I was supposed to. I did not know a lot about the law and what happens in the cases of wills, but he had many years of experience dealing with the financial matters, so I was a bit scared. But when I turned 18, I called my grandparents' lawyer, who I'd informed a few days ago what was happening with my stepdad. We began the process of transferring the estate to my name, but my stepdad made it difficult, tried to contest the will. That was when I decided to sue him so he could get out of the way for me getting my inheritance. I opened a case against him for threatening me to sign over everything to his name after my parents died. His defense was that I was too young to inherit the money, and he had proof that he'd been taking care of the estate. But then an investigation was done into the accounts. It was revealed that he's been stealing money from the estate into his account, which was fraud. I learned that he was only allowed to use the money for necessary expenses and not squander it on expensive clothes and gadgets. Not only that, he was also letting his son spend money for all the time. I won the case and got my inheritance. He also had to give me back all the money he stole. Not only that, he also had to cover legal fees. The money was so much he had to sell his house and car along with the things he bought. I also kicked both of them out of my grandparents' house and told them never to come back again. What he did was very unethical, and his license to practice his financial services was suspended. He's going to have a disciplinary hearing very soon. So now he has no job, no house, no income along with his son, and I have cut off all contact with him so I can focus on more important things in life. The last couple of months have been such a whirlwind and things are only starting to settle down now. Guys, when I told you that was an emotional roller coaster, I was not kidding. I personally feel so bad for OP, who had to have been going through grief when his stepfather did not seem to care at all about his emotions. In fact, all he wanted was the money. What would you guys do if you were in this exact same scenario, and how would you play if you were OP? At the end, though, I think justice and sweet karma was served, as OP got to take all the inheritance, single-handedly got the stepfather and bully of a brother kicked out and is now homeless. Do you guys think that OP was too harsh in this situation? What do you think? The a-hole or not the a-hole? Mr. Reddito's opinion is not the a-hole, but let me know what you think in the comment section below. Our next story coming at you now is story 2, so strap your seatbelts, sit back with a nice cold beverage, and relax. It's coming at you now. Over a year ago, my relationship got put in a bad place because my ex, and I'm 27 male by the way, broke up with 2 years prior, sent me a DM that I'm her baby daddy. Her daughter was under a year old by the way, so I already knew it was BS and told her do not contact me again. She found my girlfriend's Instagram, then started sending her messages too, that this is my daughter, and she's sorry for being involved with me knowing I was in a relationship with my girlfriend. But since I'm refusing to take responsibility, she did not know how else to reach out, trying to make herself seem genuine. My girlfriend was then sent fake screenshots that were supposedly from me, then also the ones I actually sent her about leaving me alone, because that's not my baby. Around this time, my girlfriend was 6 months pregnant, so the stress and hormones of that, plus the info she gave her. The times we supposedly met up after telling my girlfriend I'm working late, it matches up, because those were actual nights I did work late. All that freaked her out and she really did start having doubts. I got to the point where my girlfriend was really scared and confused, and she went to go stay at her parents for a few days. I was so scared I was gonna lose my family. Then, my ex apologized when she heard my girlfriend was not staying at our apartment. She just wanted to mess with us a little because she was still bitter I dumped her, but she did not mean to go this far. My girlfriend came back and it took some time to come back from that, but we have our son who's 7 months and he's happier than ever. My sister, who's 25, told me about this last weekend when we were at her parents'. She got a little tipsy from the mimosas and were joking about all the old embarrassing stories she just blurted out, but she thought it was okay to talk about since me and my girlfriend are fine. I kept asking her why the hell she would do something like that, straight up arguing right there in front of my family. She says she was just being stupid and bored since she wasn't working and, like my ex, did not realize it would get that bad, which is why they stopped it. But obviously my ex did not rat on my sister. I called my sister a stupid beep for almost wrecking my relationship, and what that put my girlfriend through. My sister started crying, and this is why she didn't say anything because it might get this reaction. She only said something now because she was embarrassed and now we're in a good place, so she doesn't know why I'm so mad about it. It was a whole thing. My sister cried in the bathroom and would not come out. I went home early to be with my girlfriend and son. They all say I behaved like an a-hole when my sister decided to come clean, and I owe her an apology for my overreaction, just like she owed me one. Was my reaction warranted though, or was it actually an overreaction? I'm still mad about it. Am I the a-hole? Hey guys, that was kind of a difficult story to read. I'm going to say not the a-hole, but let me know your thoughts down below. In my opinion, the reason it's not the a-hole is the sister put an unexpectedly amount of stress on a pregnant woman. I do not think that OP overreacted at all. In fact, that was not a prank. That was almost the ending of a whole relationship. Guys, I want to know specifically what you guys think, so drop your thoughts down in the comment section below. The next story that we're going to hop into is an Am I the A-hole story, and guys, let me tell you, this one gets real. Here we go, story number 3 coming at you right now. And by the way, if you are enjoying this content, do subscribe to the channel and smash that like button as Mr. Reddito is here for you guys. Layla and I are friends with 5 other women and have been since middle school. Everyone but us has kids, and we have fur babies instead. Once our group had kids, we tried to do a Mother's Day lunch with all of us. It did not really go over that well because those without kids could not really participate. Like, what do I know about late night feedings and diapers and first steps of going through the adoption process? So people without kids were just left out and everyone was okay with that. It's been like this for the last 11 years, and now it's turned into their kids and husbands' partners making brunch together, serving it up and exchanging gifts, stories, and spend a day together on one big family outing. Layla got her puppy last year, and she's 100% the dog mom. Stickers, shirts, gift you presents from her dog, signed cards, etc. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, and it's cute. She can go overboard like the birthday party she threw for her puppy last month, and invited our group and her friends from her doggy daycare. Some of our friends left because of a couple of the kids have dog allergies, and she had dogs everywhere, and did not include that in the info. She was sad that they left, so we had to explain to her that she knows some of our friends' kids have these allergies, and she did not give a heads up, and she invited people to bring her dog's friends from doggy daycare. Eventually, she let it go. She did not tell us if it was a dog birthday party when she invited everyone. She said it was just a little get-together. For us, that always means just that. So we all learned about dog birthday parties at the same time. When the kids were found to be allergic to the dogs, those friends stopped going to Layla's house and explained to her why. Layla did not want to be left out, so she would deep clean and do all she could to minimize allergens so those friends could still come over and we'd spend the time outside. Benadryls worked if the kids came over too and their allergies flared up. Mother's Day does roll around. She comes over and was pretty upset, saying that she needed to vent. She said she was hurt and she left out our Mother's Day outing because she had a dog mom, and that counts too. I listened to her for a bit, but she started to actually get angry with our other friends. I told her they had a point not inviting us. We could deal with not being invited to one of the 2 celebrations out of the year that's for families. She asked if that means I don't think of my cats as dogs and family. I told her I do, but it's not the same. I told her that the outing is for real moms and their actual kids. Our friends are actually making sacrifices, giving up time, energy, and resources that we don't. I gave them example that for the puppy, she got her at 11 weeks, when she was already born and weaned. She had help training her at a doggy academy, free and easy adoption. She has her in a doggy daycare 5 days a week, and anytime she wants to take off, a groomer does all the bathing and trimming. I told her I'm not trying to take away from the joy of being a dog mom brings to her, but just trying to highlight how we are not the same kind of moms. Layla left after that, and none of us have talked to her since. The only one who has talked to her works with her, and says Layla has been making some comments about how she was intentionally left out, and her friends don't take her serious because she does not have a crotch goblin. I'm starting to think I may have messed up and should have just been quiet and let her be mad for a bit. Am I the a-hole? Edit. Our mom's friend do not just randomly exclude us. The first 2 years of other kids did celebrate together. Those of us without kids, it was more than just she and I at first, and it could talk at length about parenting and families. Going someplace after lunch had to be kid-friendly because the parents would want their kids with them. We wanted to go to the bar or a day trip. Our friends with kids always made sure to not gush about their kids all the time to the group. We all decided, Layla included, that the Mother's Day lunch would just be for the moms and their kids so they can do all the kid-friendly activities and gush about their kids all they wanted. Back then, Layla would get bored with them talking about their children too much, and attention on kids' pictures and not other topics. She still has the same attitude today. And edit number 2, Unless she's keeping the info to herself, Layla chooses to be child-free, and it's not an issue of being childless. Her marriage did end because her ex eventually changed his mind to wanting kids. She took it pretty hard when she found out he remarried and does have kids now, and got lemon not too long after that. It's Mr. Reddito here, and there's a complete update, so we'll hop into that now. Thank you everyone for your input and insight. Some of the gals and I met with Layla this past weekend to talk with her and see if we could make a compromise and just see how she's doing. I apologized to her for my wording of real moms, instead of saying moms with human kids or something similar. I also apologized for the examples I used and explained I felt that it's just what I said. Remember, we agreed to this because we did not like hearing about kids all day, and doing kid-friendly things would have been invalidating. We all told her she's an amazing dog mom to Lemon and don't think less of her. Just that, like we originally agreed, Mother's Day would be the one day that we can talk about their kids without restraint. Do kid-friendly things without worrying of infringing on childhood friends. After that, I brought up the Pet's Parents' Day and Dog Mom Day, users mentioned in the original post, and we proposed doing a celebration for her on one of those days. We said we'd even be elated Pet Parents Dog Mom Day celebration since we had not heard of them prior. Layla asked if everyone and their kids would be there, and they said if she wants it like that, sure, we can get them together for Lemon with multiple dogs. Well, she said no to this because she feels a separate celebration isn't acknowledging her as a mom and they don't skip the kids' parties and games, so it shouldn't be any different when Lemon has her doggy friends around. I gently reminded her that she often leaves the kids' birthday parties early, or skips them entirely because she does not like being around kids for long. She said it's different. So we asked her how she would like to do the future Mother Day events. She wants them to go out to eat at a dog-friendly place instead of do dog-friendly activities after, so she can have Lemon and Lemon can have friends to play with at the same time like the kids do. We explained to her that that would not be feasible due to the kids with allergies. Her suggestion was just to let the kids with allergies stay home and their moms can do something with them in the evening. Our friend said leaving kids out on Mother's Day was not possible, and that we already do monthly things together, Layla included. And the kids are left out and Layla gets to bring Lemon most of the things. Layla said no, either Lemon gets accepted everywhere all the time, Mother's Day included, or it's nothing. I then asked her if she was really doing okay, and if any of this had to do with her ex remarrying. She got really mad at that and left, so I'm going to guess yes. We were going to give her space for now, but some of the others are not willing to hang out with her anymore after she suggested leaving the kids out and comparing their kids to Lemon. I'll try to still give her support and have asked her family to keep an eye on her, see if they can talk to her or something. During our conversation with her, she did say things that made it clear a lot of this new attitude was coming from her new friends from the doggy daycare. Those friends have family and other friends that will treat the dogs just like children. Gifts, watching them, clothing, cards, taking them on trips, and calling them niece, nephew, and god dogs. And that's what she wants and expects from all of us as well. So I don't think a united front would work either. She's around others who get this kind of acceptance and encouragement, so when we say no, she's taking it as us not supporting her. Prior, she was a really good friend, used to be kind of person you could talk to and she'd offer an outside box, bigger picture type of perspective. Really kind. She did not used to be so dismissive of our friends with kids and their kids. Good humor, smart, helpful, charitable, did a lot of volunteer work. She even tried to cheer you up. Compassionate and open-minded. Appreciated their effort to minimize talking about their kids and was happy with it. How she's acting now is not at all how she was when we were growing up, and until all this happened. Hey guys, so I'm showing a little bit of concern for the quote, dog mom. I think that she in fact is taking this too far. I mean, she cannot compare them to kids in the way she does, and the fact that some of the kids were known allergic to the dogs, and she went against the wishes of the parents and did not tell them it was a dog party. It is a few red flags for me. I was reading the original comments on the original post, and 2 comments specifically got a lot of attention, and they say this. It's like she's having a midlife crisis of some sort. She sees everyone else hitting a typical life milestone, and even if she never wanted to hit those milestones, aka kids, she feels like she's falling behind, especially after a divorce and that ex is having kids. And then the second comment rebutted to the comment 1, saying, "That's what I thought. She's having to deal with all these feelings about her ex, and I think she is projecting them onto the Mother's Day thing. I'm betting after the divorce and seeing her ex move on, her mental health is probably down the drain." Guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below, and we still have one more story to get into. If you're enjoying this, do show some love for the channel by smashing that like button. Here comes the final story of the day. So, a few months ago I got back into law enforcement, where I'm now part of a specialized tactical unit. Most of the time we're not in standard uniform. Instead, often we're in slacks, blue polos, and black tactical vests with the initials of our department on the front. See where this is going? I probably should also mention that I'm also wearing a fairly noticeable belt with my sidearm, radio, handcuffs, all the normal cop stuff. So, this morning, I'm in the local location for a big box store with a very similar uniform. I'd been in the Lego aisle, which at this location backs up electronics section, so it's Legos on one side and video games and glass display cases with cheap locks that are easy to pick on the other. I'm standing there considering getting something for a friend in another state whom I may be seeing next month, when a young girl walks up to me and asks if I work here. I point to the lettering on the front of my vest and politely tell her no. She apologizes and thanks me and walks down the aisle a bit. I finally decide not to get anything for my friend and turn to head out when I notice she's in the process of picking the lock on the display case, which pops open before I can even ask what she's doing. At this point, she sees me and waves before grabbing a handful of $100 games out the case and shoving them under her shirt, then starts heading for the front of the store. I decide to leave my cart and follow her. Lo and behold, she walks right past the register through the security scanners, which light up and start wailing. She starts walking faster, heading towards her car. I catch up to her just as she's trying to open. I detain her and read her rights while the store manager and theft prevention catch up. We head back into the store where I radio for a patrol car while the manager takes care of pulling video and getting the paperwork in order. The whole time this lady is just sitting there quiet. So I asked her what the heck was going through her head. This is her reasoning. "I did not think you could arrest me while you were shopping. No violence, no screaming, no assaults, like the last time I posted, but certainly one of my odder experiences." Guys, I can't even continue with this one. I don't even really have a strong opinion on this story. However, the fact that this girl went to the aisle and tried to steal right after she locked eyes with a police officer, and then continues to lockpick the video games and stuff them in her shirt and proceed to the exit. I mean, what was going on in her mind to think, oh, cop's not working, he can't arrest me? Well, guys, let me know if you've ever been around a similar situation and you've seen that level of stupidity again. That's all the stories I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the content. As always, Mr. Reddito will be back tomorrow. I hope to see you there. Have a wonderful night, and I'll catch you then.